We are coming to you from beautiful Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where tonight Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball. It's Todd Frazier, Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu in our Sox as they get set to butt heads with Paul Molitor's Minnesota Twins. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you the first of this four-game set. As you know, we're coming limping out of Detroit where we got swept. We had a 2-run lead in the first game. We had a 3-run lead in the second game. We had a 2-run lead in the third game, and they came back and won all three. So we've had better luck against this club. But right now, let's narrow in on two guys who've been doing it both sides.
Look, this year hasn't been the best year, no doubt about that, but it's good to look at young guys in the middle, especially as they start to grow together. And let's take a look at the double play combination. Let's look at a 6-4-3. Anderson to Saladino to Abreu, and then mix it up with a 4-6-3. Good job by Anderson on the pivot. And we'll go back to a 6-4-3, a little more difficult than the last one, but both guys doing it both defensively and offensively. Last 10 games, Tim Anderson hitting .349. Extra base hits, he's got 4 of them. He's driven in 3, scored 7. He's a table setter. That's what he's supposed to do. Multi-hit games, he's a specialist at that. Tyler Saladino, surprisingly, the offense has really come around. Last 14 games, .321, and he's hitting the ball out of the ballpark as well as driving in runs. Both of these guys have done a great job, and it's nice to see them grow together.
Well, Steve and I talked about it the other day in Detroit. The more you see Tim Anderson play, the more you realize what great talent he has. But tonight, we've got one of our fine left-handers going out there looking for his third straight victory, and their guy looking to end a 13-game losing streak.
It's Santana, the right-hander for them, and Quintana, the left-hander for us. And Jose Quintana has been brilliant lately. Last couple of starts, 2-0, the ERA 184. His ERA leads the American League. 277 in the American League is awfully tough. And although he hasn't had a lot of support early, he's getting it now. Urban Santana on the other side of the page has thrown the ball pretty well. The last time we saw him on July 31st, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, but only 1 earned. He did win that ball game, and he was a guy they thought would be traded. He wasn't. They view him as one of the building blocks of this team heading forward. They're not going to move him, and we're going to see him tonight. Well,
we've got 2 of the better home run hitters in the American League, and Todd Frazier and Brian Dozier. So sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
On CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Hello, come in. Testing 1 2.
CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Welcome back to Target Field in the Twin Cities. A gorgeous night for baseball. And the Minnesota Twins trying to break a 13-game losing streak. So we'll take a look at how Robin is going to line them up as the Twins have taken the field. Our Kia starting lineup. Adam Eaton leading it off. Tim Anderson, who against the Twins this year has been terrific in just 6 games. That's Melky Cabrera, who's feeling 100% now. Jose Abreu, Justin Morneau, who got a nice hand when they announced him before the game. Todd Frazier, Avisail Garcia. Alex Avila coming off a titanic home run in Detroit, and Tyler Saladino, who's playing pretty well at second base, hitting 9. Our Honda City defensive setup and how Paul Molitor is going to line up his Twins. Eddie Rosario in left field. Byron Buxton, who is back from the minor leagues after being the AAA player of the week. Max Kepler in right field, and he's done a nice job. Then it's Trevor Plouffe, Jorge Polanco, Brian Dozier, and Joe Mauer in the infield with Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Irvin Santana. So it's 6-10, 3.54 ERA. That's good. This is 25th start. We've seen him. Last time out, he beat us. However, he's 1-2 this year, and his slider's his best pitch by far. He's got a good changeup, so he's ready to go. Adam Eaton is stepping in the batter's box. And that means we are just about ready to play baseball. So while they're waiting just a touch until the clock strikes 7:10, time for me to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stoney, thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox Baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours as Santana's first pitch off the plate. Santana's a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher, but he is a good, solid major league pitcher.
Yeah, and he's got very good stuff, and I think the Twins want to keep him around for a while. Their reasoning being, if they let him go and trade him for whatever they can get, they're going to have to find a guy next year to take his spot with all the rookies they're going to have in the rotation.
Well, there's, not that I know of, it might be, but there's not a rotation in the American League that he couldn't be in the starting rotation on.
No, he's pretty strong. Hard to have a winning record when a team is as far under 500 as these Twins, but the ERA at 3.5 is pretty impressive.
Adam into left field. Rosario.
The umpires for the game tonight. Greg Gibson behind the plate. Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, is at first. Mike Esterbrook is at second, and Toby Bassner is at third.
So here is Tim. Anderson at 281, 7 homers, 21 driven in. He's faced Santana 3 times, has 2 hits. That's into center field, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Now he's 3 for 4. And let's check out our picks to click tonight. Fans took Abreu, Mike Leary, Jim Angio, Dave Ross, and the crew. They're going to go with Saladino. Steve's going with Adam Eaton and Gail Tucker, Martha Black. Joe Simmons and we're going to go with Morneau coming back to his old haunts. Sox come in hitting at 252 as a club with a 4.05 team ERA. And this is the 13th meeting of the year between these two clubs. In the first 12, we have won 9. No field. Melky has had pretty good success, 10 for 32 with a home run off the 33-year-old veteran right-hander.
We got a pretty good idea that Santana's going to be around the plate because he does throw a whole lot of strikes. He has a changeup. His fastball, good but not great. But he's got to use that good slider and that changeup to set up the fastball.
There's a bullet.
And it hit him.
And it hit Tim Anderson. So, I guess the right phrase would be the beat goes on.
Yeah, unfortunately, you keep on seeing things that you just don't see very often, or sometimes not at all. And Melky had a base hit, will get a base hit. But unfortunately, Tim Anderson, taking his lead, cannot get out of the way of this. And, oh well.
Man.
Trying to go backwards. It's a reflex, and it was the wrong one, unfortunately.
Abreu. Yeah, talking to Paul Molitor before the game, and Paulie, who's a Hall of Famer, and he was an all-around athlete, as you were, as I was. They've lost 13 in a row. We have had a miserable season after the 23-10 start that we got off to. And I told him, I said, the toughest thing I've ever been involved in all of my sporting career, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, whatever, is winning a Major League Baseball game when you're going bad.
It's, well, there's a
Something's
lot of,
going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad things that happen to you. Unfortunately, you got two teams that are going very poorly. And so you never really know at the end who's going to have more bad things happen. The Sox have started out with having a bad thing. Could have been runners easily at first and third. Instead, it's a man at first and 2 outs.
Having leads like we did in Detroit, 2-run lead in the first game, 3-run lead in the second game, 2-run lead in the third game, and lost all 3.
Tim Anderson, that one got a good piece of him. I mean, that wasn't a glancing blow, so Hermie is doing a little tape-up job.
And there's the base hit. So Melky will have to pull up. And that figures. Sparse crowd on hand. One of the smallest starting off a ball game that we have seen since we've been coming here. They're averaging 24,920.
But the ones that are here, and there weren't many, gave a round of applause to Justin Morneau. They still love him from his time here. And I talked to him about what it felt like the last time, which was the first time he came back. And he said he didn't know what to expect. The fans, and at that point, it was before they had lost as many as they'd lost now. There was a lot more people at the ballpark, and they gave him a wonderful round of applause. His time as a Twin, and he was here a long time. 1,278 games. He hit 278, 221 home runs, 860 driven in, and 4 All-Star selections.
Well, he was loved here. And I was talking with Charlie Walters, a long time sports writer for St. Paul Press. And I didn't realize how much he was left here until Charlie really explained it to me today. As he gets him there, but we come up with 3 hits, can't score.
Lineup for these Twins. We'll take a look at the most powerful leadoff man in the major league, Brian Dozier. 32 home runs, 81 driven in. Then it's Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe, Miguel Sano, Jorge Polanco, who in the last 28 has been very good, Max Kepler, Kurt Suzuki, Eddie Rosario, and Byron Buxton rounding it out. The Honda City defensive setup, and now Robin is going to put him out there behind Jose Quintana. Left to right, it's Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton, and Avisail Garcia. In the infield, Frazier, Anderson, Saladino, and Abreu. Alex Avila gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Jose Quintana, on for his 27th start, looking for his 12th win. The ERA, American League best, 277. 172 in the third. Looks like he will go over 200 once again. And he's got to face a team that really, although they haven't handled him exactly, have hit him better than most.
So here is good, one of the better fastball hitters in the American League, Brian Dozier. From the belt up to just around the letters, he is very dangerous.
And he's hit 4 home runs lifetime against Jose Quintana. The old lineup has only had 6. Dozier was hitting 4th for a while. That didn't work out quite as well. They put Mauer at the top spot. That didn't work out at all. So they've been searching for a #1 hitter. Buxton can't be that guy yet. And so because of that, they put Dozier at the top with Mauer behind him.
Twins hitting at 255 as a club with a 5.12 ERA, and I think for August their ERA was something over 7 as a team.
Well, the bullpen has been abominable. That's been one of the things. If they do happen to get a lead, they can't hold it.
.21, Dave Ross tells us, for August. Had a stretch there. Talking Bert Blylett, Hall of Fame right-hander. He had a stretch there. At one point, they had over an 8. He gone. Over an 8 team ERA.
Well, this team that's last in the American League in pitching, not surprising with those kind of numbers, but they've actually out-hit the Sox this year. They've also outscored them, 603 runs to 535. That's a pretty wide margin. And out-homered them 155 to 134.
We got 21 more home runs than we do. I mean, that has not happened very often. Where the Minnesota Twins
no
out-homered us.
Especially in this park.
Oh boy. A little softer right there.
Yeah, I think that's really what's happened. I mean, we saw him when he came up from the minor leagues and started playing the first few weeks. He was coming in charging everything with one hand, and then when you take a bad hop with one hand, you're not going to be able to adjust to it. And now he's using two hands, and he knows when he has some time. When you have an arm that strong and you know when you got some time, he can get most people.
Well, of all the great arms we have in the American League at the shortstop position, none of them is better than Tim Anderson's.
He's pretty good. I would say maybe one guy, and he's not a rookie. It's Andrelton Simmons from the Angels. That might be it. But the rest of the new guys coming up, he can match any of them. And he's got as much range as any of them. See how softly he catches this. It's two hands. It's easy. Knows he's got some time with Mauer. Makes the play.
I haven't seen that much of Simmons, but what I have seen of him, it's hard to think that he's. Of course, you've seen him more than I have, but it's hard to think he's anybody got a better arm for shortstop. Is he gone? 1, 2, 3 inning, couple strikeouts, and after one, no score.
Reminder is to sit back and enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Sox fans, show your team pride with White Sox checking and an official White Sox MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. So go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Member FDIC. Todd Frazier. And it is 1-0 Sox. You can put it on the board. Yes. That did not take long to leave the premises.
Well, he got a fastball and he got it above letter high on the inside part of the plate. And that helps make up for 3 hits and no runs in the first inning. The 34th home run of the year. The 84th driven in. And you see where Suzuki wants it, and you see where Santana got it. He wants it low and away. He got it up and in. Oh, that's gone in a heartbeat, and the fan makes a great catch.
And here's Javi. Javi at 247, 10 homers, 40 knocked in. Of course, with that home run by Tide. Alex Nellius with another generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula.
For Santana, that's only the 16th home run he's given up this year. In close to 150 innings. That's not too bad. When you miss your spot, and you're a major league pitcher, you miss your spot by about 2 feet, that's going to happen to you.
Well, you don't hear them talk about it much anymore. You don't hear it much anymore. One of the greatest sounds that a hitter can have or had in years past was when a pitcher threw a pitch and said, "No!"
Or just yelled in, "Give me another one."
Yeah.
No, pitchers don't do that much.
No.
But they feel like it.
Blanco. 1 out.
There's just a sound that you can hear, and a pitcher, when he throws the ball, hears that sound, and you just look down because there's really no reason to even look at the ball unless you want to just see how far it goes. But I asked Alex Avila about the ball he hit in Detroit, the one that they said went 425, but probably went 435, maybe a little bit more, because it was 420 at the fence and it cleared it by a good margin. But I said, "How did it feel?" He said, "Didn't feel at all. I couldn't feel it."
That's right.
I said, "That's what happens. You can't feel the contact. It just goes."
I think that most times that I ever had that sensation of feeling nothing maybe was in the season was maybe 3 or 4 times. When you just hit it and you didn't feel a thing.
I would think with the amount of home runs you hit in 68, you were hitting it on the sweet spot a lot, and you couldn't feel it in your hands. I mean, you're telling me you hit home runs and you feel the vibration?
You don't feel, as he was talking, he didn't feel a vibration. He didn't feel anything.
No, he felt nothing. But I'm saying, you said you only had 3 or 4 times in a year. So when you hit the other home runs, did you feel
yeah,
it?
you always, yeah. You knew you hit them good, but you could feel the vibration in your hands. You could feel the bat. I bet you my whole career, counting the minor leagues and everything, didn't happen more than 15, 20 times.
So you have to hit it on the perfect, exact sweet spot of the bat to have no feel.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I felt like on bunts. Could hardly feel it. That's the closest I got to a home run.
That was good a ping pong player as you were. I'm surprised you weren't a better hitter.
Well, I made contact, but here was the thing. I got hit relatively early in not elementary school, but just after that. Yeah, see, it was raining.
And the rest was history. Huh?
Well, but you know, getting hit is one thing. Getting hit where you don't want to get hit is something else. And it was raining. Didn't think we'd play. Wore a cup every game except for that one. Sidearm right-hander threw me a curveball on the first pitch, and I thought, and I, gave just a little ground and said, well, that's not going to happen again. Sidearm again. I opened up and I was going to hit it a mile. Only it wasn't a curveball. It was a fastball.
Oh.
Yes, that wasn't good. After that, my heart was in it. My left foot was not.
Well, that explains it.
And that was it. If they ever threw one 8 inches inside, it was right in my wheelhouse. Anything from the middle of the plate away, no chance to hit it whatsoever.
Tyler. That ball hit sharply back through the middle for the hit. So they're hanging out some hemp on Santana.
Tyler Saladino has really had a terrific run. That's 2.5 weeks. He's just been hitting a lot of balls on the screws. And he's had a chance to play more, and his rhythm is much better. This is a fastball. It's on the outer third. It's not near as away as Suzuki would have wanted it. Tyler makes the most of it.
Tyler's a good player.
And he's shown he's a good player.
Adam fakes the bunt and takes the ball.
Pretty good career numbers against Santana, but he got him the first time out.
There's a base hit. Rosario can throw. So Plouffe just turns around and looks at Dana DeMuth.
Rosario thought he got him. He charges it. Well, he tagged him. He tagged him on the forearm, it looked like, and if you tag somebody on the forearm, that hand has got to get there before the tag, and it looked to me like he was safe from that angle. But they're going to take another look at it in the dugout.
That's not Dana DeMuth, that's Toby Asner. So with that, base running play by Tyler. Adam Eaton in the second.
Ooh, that angle. Looks like he might have got him.
Well, they're going to check it out.
It was the extreme slow motion. Bear in mind, the call on the field was safe. We'll slow it way down for you. Now from that angle, his fingertips on the bag, you can't really tell from that angle if the glove is quite there yet. Might fall into the category is one of those calls that regardless of what it was called on the field, it would stand. You think there's going to be some revisions to
Yes.
replays?
Yes. There's three guys that are going to determine that. Joe Torre, John Schuerholz, and Tony La Russa. Joe will get it straightened out. Joe is a guy who would love to see the games shortened, like everybody.
I can't blame him. Yeah.
Exactly right. And that's the threesome that will probably get some things solved. Of course, Manfred's got to okay it. But I think with the recommendation of those three guys that the commissioner will indeed go along with anything they want.
You think we'll see something that limits the amount of time you have to take a look at it before you either call for a replay or not? Do you think that's something
that's one area? That's one area that you can. Yeah, the guys in New York are the ones who take all the time. You know,
it's the umpiring crew.
Yeah, so it's a crew of umpires. They rotate that crew. This crew right here might be in New York next week. Yeah. You know, after the series. So it's just a rotation there. I think they'll probably wind up getting some guys who, maybe not umpires, but guys who this is the only thing they'll do, and they'll be used to it. They'll be doing it all the time, and they will be quicker.
He's in there.
Well, yeah, but you framed it perfect. The call was safe on the field. So now it has to be definitive. I thought he was out.
Well, it looked, I mean, as you slowed it down, it looked like it. But you know what? I think you really hit onto something when you say, don't put umpires there. Put guys who are not umpiring a series, let's say in San Diego. Now they're in New York, and they have friends that they're reviewing. Put 4, 6, however, 8 guys, whoever you want to have on a rotation basis, that have been in baseball most of their lives, because it's not a rules interpretation. You're looking at a video and you're making a determination. You can make it fairly quickly.
Well, as I said, I don't think there's any question that there will be some revisions in the way the reviews are viewed. And hey, those guys are human. They have guys that they don't like. The 4 umpires that are making the decision in there, and they got guys that they love. I think there's going to be some other changes down the road that I have always, I didn't mind the review coming in because of the status of the game itself today and the games. And that's to the right side. So with all that, he's going to get out of it. But the line shot home run by Todd Frazier. It's 1-0 Good Guys.
All season long on CSNChicago.com. Presented by The Great Escape. Whether it's pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, or more, escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
But, you know, getting back to the review, and then, in my opinion, it's not going to be, it'll be a while yet, but it's not going to be a whole long time because of technology. Technology is going to rule. And technology, in my opinion, you're going to have an electronic strike zone.
See, to
you
me,
had an interest. Go ahead.
I get a.
Explain your.
Okay, my feeling is that electronic strike zone. Now you have to have an umpire there, obviously, because you have to have tag plays and you have to have plays where you're talking for foul balls and everything else. So there has to be an umpire there. But electronic strike zone is pretty easy if, in fact, you're using a laser to outline the plate, and the reason being that. Take a curveball. Let's say a guy has a huge breaking curveball. Bert Blyleven's curveball. If he throws it over the front part of the plate and it comes over a strike, meaning that it's going to be knee high when it hits the front part of the plate, it could literally hit off the back part of the plate or in the dirt, and it would be a strike. And the fans will go crazy with that because they'd go crazy now. Plus, you can have a Chris Sale slider. Let's say his slider shaves off the inside corner and hits a guy without swinging, shaves off the inside corner and hits a guy in the thigh, which could happen.
With his slider, or
with his slider,
Andrew Miller,
or any of the real big, any of the real big breaking sliders. So to me, it would make it much more difficult to hit with an electronic strike zone.
Okay, but you also brought up another point that I liked the other day we were discussing. Is that hitters, you're going to have guys hitting 200 making $15-20 million a year.
They're going to be the stars of the game. If you hit 200, you're going to be one of the stars. Because, look, let's say you got a sidearm right-hander. We've seen some of the real big breaking balls from a sidearm right-hander. And he shaves off the outside corner on that slider. Starts it outside, hits the outside corner. By the time the catcher catches, it's a foot outside. What is the hitter going to do with that?
Well, here's why I prefaced it when I framed it up front. It's not going to happen right now, but it's not going to be years and years and years down the road. They will figure all that out. They'll have the technology to do it. That's how fast technology is just in everything is exploding. I was reading a story the other day about Elon Musk.
I just want him to get 1,000 mild battery.
Well, that will happen.
Yeah.
Sure.
But by the time they is, you
290
by the time
is
it happens,
tops
you and
right
I
now.
won't be able to see.
Well,
so it's not,
or remember where we're going.
It's not going to help us.
All right, Sano picks up the first hit into right field. Or check that, Polanco. But it's going to happen because the technology they will be able to develop, and they're going to have to try it out to minor leagues for, I would say, a long time. But they will get it to whereas it will be a strike and it will be a ball, one or the other. But Musk was talking about just how explosion of technology is even faster than he thought it was going to be. You're going to have driverless cars, as that's checked up, like Max Kepler. Kepler hitting at 243, 16 homers, 59 knocked in.
Well, if you get driverless cars and the cop pulls you over, how are you going to explain to him that, hey, give Hector the robot the ticket because it wasn't me? I don't know how this happened.
Well, that stuff, if it was up to me, we'd still be crossing rivers in canoes. That's off the plate. But I think that's coming. I really do. I think the public's going to demand it, as a matter of fact. Now, from my standpoint, I don't want it. I want the game to have some semblance of how it was when they designed it originally. You got so many things coming into baseball today that, like that's an interview I did with Charlie Walters. They were talking about analytics, sabermetrics. There's a place for numbers in baseball. There's a place for all this stuff, but not to the degree that they have elevated it. This is quick. When you get guys who never played the game going by computers, numbers, everything else, and sending down suggested lineups to managers, I don't like that. Jim Thome and I were talking about it the other day.
Well, he was here. He came up to make. He's here today.
Yeah, he's going to be here a couple days.
And that's great. But I absolutely agree with you in that there are some great things that you can do with numbers which transcend the actual numbers that we've seen all of these years.
Sure.
Like the batting average. You know, you have a weighted on base percentage. You have a number of things where you can actually hone it down and actually make them more relevant.
And there's a base hit. So Polanco on the way, third base. Runners at the corners and one out.
A couple of their left-handers have the highest batting averages against Jose Quintana. One is Kepler, the other is Mauer. And Kepler has really shown that there is a lot of upside in this young man. They brought him up. He is German-born. Learned to play the game. Started a little bit later than most, but he looks like he's got some talent.
He does. He can throw.
Yep.
Looks like he's a good outfielder. He's got some pop. And the best part about it for them, he's just 23 years old.
Suzuki, one of those guys that usually makes contact.
Against us, he does.
He's only fanned 39 times this year, 295 at bats. But I think by far he's got the best batting average against any team against the White Sox. You look at it, lifetime 301, 47 runs driven in 80 games. For a guy that doesn't drive in a whole lot of runs, that's a lot of production.
Well, a lot of those are game winners.
Yeah, I know. He's pretty tough.
Especially when he was in that Oakland uniform. And, you know, when you're sending down these suggested lineups to the manager for that particular game against that particular pitcher, with the changing, so to speak, of managers the way it has been, and it's going to continue to be because of the pressures of winning. That's yanked foul. These guys are going to go along with it. So in essence, what you're doing is you're asking them to manage a game that they really don't know that they've been managing in the minor leagues to try to get a shot in the big leagues. So you're taking them out of their element. You're handing them. Not to say that I know our guy does not send down those suggested lineups to Robin Ventura, and I'm sure that Terry Ryan, when he was here, did not send down those lineups to Paul Molitor. But there are guys who are doing it.
There is no question. And the thing that amazes me is, in a lot of situations, none that we will specify, but part of the interview process is, what would you do if I sent you down some lineup suggestions? I mean, would you consider them? Would you use them? Would you tell me to keep them to myself? And if you are inflexible, more times than not, you're not going to get that job.
Exactly.
And that's how it's become a little bit of a different game these days.
It's become a whole different game. It's become, and it's been interesting for guys like you and I who've been in this game all our lives to watch, to see. I was talking with an old friend, former GM of the Mets, Joe McElvain, who now scouts for Baltimore prior to the game. And we were talking about this, you know. And of course, Joe being a lifer, so to speak, he was a former pitcher, feels the same way we do. Guys who've been in the game as long as we have. I'm not saying you're set in stone because you're not. I'm not saying I'm set in stone because I'm not. Joe is not set in stone. But a lot of guys who've been in this game for a long time are set in stone.
Well, they don't want to see any progress. And some, you know, not all progress is bad. Not all progress is good, but there are certain things from the new style of baseball that are very good. There are also some things that aren't that great.
Well, to me, the Buster Posey rule is absolutely ridiculous.
They're going to have to make an adjustment because the interpretation of the umpire on that play, to me,
and that's one of the reasons it's ridiculous.
Wait, to me, I think when you're looking at that play, you're going to have catchers who were born and raised not blocking the plate. They want to catch the ball, they want to reach back, make the tag. That's fine. You have other catchers who are born and raised to block the plate. Have a rule where if the catcher is out front, not blocking the plate, you can't touch him. If you do, you're going to be suspended. But if he wants to block the plate, then you can run him over. That way, it's no umpire interpretation. That way, it just is a game, and that's what happens.
That's
and
the way it used to be.
Right. Well, the catchers that they don't want to get back there, you just can't bowl them over. That's fine.
Going into second base the way you have to go into now is, in my opinion, ridiculous. With that Mets shortstop getting hurt by Chase Utley.
Well, you can never in Chase Utley's play. I mean, I don't mind a guy having to get down before the bag, but when you can't, it used to be the rule was if you could touch the bag with your hand, with your foot, whatever, you could try to take out the pivot man. Now you can't do that.
Can't do it. And was that a tough slide by Chase? Yes, it was. Would you consider it a little bit dirty? Yes, you would. But if it had been a guy like Kirk Gibson, he would have broke both legs on that particular play. And other guys, your Thurman Munson, if you give him a chance to take a guy out of second base, Thurman, and he was going to knock him into left field.
Well, but there was a whole, I mean, the shortstops, the real good quick shortstops in those situations, they had 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to get out of the way of the runner. You couldn't get a piece of it.
Well, you better get down as first.
They knew it was coming, but you couldn't get a piece of it.
There you go. And that's a base hit. So Suzuki once again comes through. And the game is tied at 1.
He just battled and battled and battled. Had an 8-pitch at bat. The 8th pitch was out of the strike zone, and Kurt Suzuki, who always saves his best for the Sox, won the battle. It's a breaking ball down. Our Toyota pitch tracks will show you it's out of the strike zone. Kurt Suzuki doing what he does best, tormenting the Sox.
Here's Eddie Rosario. Rosario, 269, 8 homers, 30 knocked in. Still runners at the corners now with 1 out. And it's a 2-1 Minnesota lead.
Probably going to be a wild pitch. And if it is, it's going to be the 8th wild pitch of the year for Jose Quintana. That's a tough ball to handle because Alex is sitting low and away. That was a curveball, and that ball actually was on the inside part of the plate. As soon as a curveball from a left-hander hits the dirt, it spins the other way. And Alex just couldn't get to it. It went off his elbow.
That's out of play. So Polanco has scored. Kepler has scored. And for Polanco, that hit, he's hit now safely in 25 of 29 games since being recalled.
Well, Polanco's been a good player. The oddity with him is they believe his best position is second base first, third base second, and shortstop third. But he's got his opportunity to play shortstop, and for the most part, he's made the most of it. But he has swung the bat.
And there is a base hit. They're going to hold a runner with Adam Eaton out there.
This ball is inside off the plate, and yet Rosario takes it to center field, so that'll bring Don Cooper, and he wants to try to settle down Jose Quintana, who never gets overly excited. But to this point, this Twin team is hitting pitches out of the strike zone for base hits.
So here is the 22-year-old Byron Buxton, former #1 draft pick. We called him AAA, where he was hitting .257, 10 RBIs in 20 games with 5 home runs.
He had a real good month in the minor leagues, but he's really struggled in his shots up here.
Going to the count.
He was the second player drafted overall in that first round in 2012. For a long time, the #1 prospect in the minor leagues.
First player was Carlos Correa.
That was a pretty good choice.
Gap out there in left center. So for the third time in this ball game, they have runners at the corner. Third time this inning. Runners at the corners and 1 out. Watch out.
that was a rocket down the line. Kurt Suzuki able to get down under that. And a fascinated young fan.
That was way out of here. It is 5-1.
That's the second home run this year. That was a curveball that just came up spinning. And Jose doesn't have a whole lot on the breaking ball tonight. A Ford home run replay. This one hit the second deck. And just like that, a huge second inning.
So here is Dozier, struck out, leading off, last inning.
Dozier hit 13 home runs in the month of August. That was second all time in this franchise history behind the great Harmon Killebrew.
Harmon probably did it in September. In September, Harmon Killebrew was one of the best hitters you ever want to see. You couldn't get him out in September.
You ever met too many nicer guys, nicer than Harmon?
No, he's right up there. He's in that Jim Thome category.
Boy, he was just a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to love to watch him hit a single, get on first base, and switch from the hard head to the soft
well,
cap.
He did it so quickly because
you couldn't hardly. You had to be watching for it.
He didn't have a hair on his head. He didn't want anybody to know about it.
You're right. We used to get on him about that.
He lived in Phoenix, and I ran into him at a number of golf tournaments. And I remember, you know, you grow up, you hear Harmon Killebrew and hitting these towering home runs. They went 8 miles, and they went 8 miles high, and all these things. And then I met him, and I expected him to be like Frank Howard's size. And he was really wide, and maybe, what, 5'8"?
He was built like
5'9"?
Jimmy Fox.
He was huge.
Yeah.
He was just...
shoulders on him like flanks. As he gets him, so 2 out. I'll always remember Killebrew playing left field in Kansas City. Mo Drabowski was pitching, and he hit Killebrew on the fist with a good fastball. That bat exploded. I mean, exploded in 2 pieces, and that was an ash bat, wasn't a maple bat.
Yep.
And that ball went right over the 401 sign. I saw him when he was a kid. He was either 17 or 18 years old in Charlotte in the Sally League, and I was living in Savannah. I was visiting Club Bat Boy. So Mauer grounded out to Anderson, takes a strike, and the count 0-2.
Talk to the left-handers having some good luck against Jose Quintana. Joe Mauer, you saw those numbers.
Got him. Meanwhile, a big crooked number goes up on that board. We'll go to third, trailing 5-1. guys. Cabrera, Abreu, and Morneau. First pitch strike to Melky. Melky singled. Off the body. It was going to be a base hit anyway, but off the body of Tim Anderson, who was on first base, he hit a rocket. Gap out there in right center.
Santana really is going to make it or break it on that slider. He throws it a lot.
Well, you know, if you're going to look at his stats before the game, being especially a right-handed hitter, as he gets him, he's pretty easy to get an approach on. Now, does that mean you're going to get him? No, but it means you got a chance to be dangerous against him because of the fact he's worked 147 in the third innings, given up 138 hits, has 113 strikeouts, only 39 walks, and he's only hit one guy. So what does that tell you? He doesn't pitch right-handers inside. And that's the way you got it to go. Either one, you got to back off a little bit and do what Abreu just did, or you got to jump right on top of that plate and make him throw you fastballs, because as you just said, you're not going to do anything with the slider if he gets it where he wants it.
And you take a look at the numbers and they bear out exactly what you said. This is Abreu taking that pitch low and away, taking it in the right field. He's recorded 43 of his 67 strikeouts on right-hand hitters this year with his slider. That's 64.2%. The league average is only 40%. So more times than not, given his own devices, he's going to stay away, and we've seen he's going to stay away from the left-handers also. He might come in, but he's going to come in off the plate.
It's going to be a ball, or it's going to hit you, so what? You know, but at least you got an approach against him. And there's a base hit by Morneau. So Abreu is going to make that turn. He's going to move on into third base. So we now have out hit them 8-5, but they lead us 5-1.
Time now for the greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. And it is Irvin Santana. First 12 starts, he was, well, let's say it, awful. 1-7, 5.10 ERA. Opponent's batting average of 300. The rest of the numbers just very bad. Last 12 starts, he's been very good, especially for a team losing most of the time. 5-3, ERA 2.30. Opponent's batting average 2.03. With the whip under 1, it's just absolutely exceptional, and it's because of that slider.
Here's Ty.
Time now for Xfinity high-speed action replay, and it was the first pitch, a fastball that he missed his spot. Todd Frazier didn't. He lined it out of the ballpark. 34-84, home runs batted in. And at the time, 1-0 Sox. Lead since by the boards.
0-2 the count. Yeah, when he gets you, or especially when 0-2-1-2, you're a right-handed hitter. He is not coming inside with a fastball. Now, he can come inside off the plate, but not for a strike.
There was heads-up base running by Justin Morneau, who doesn't have speed, but he does have anticipation. He took a look at that ball. He knew Suzuki was going to block it. The question was, how far would it get away? He also realized with the man at third, he wasn't going to get too adventuresome. So he takes off right now. And Suzuki looks up. Take a look at Morneau. He sees it in the dirt. Then he just goes because he knows with the man at third. See him here. That's good anticipation from a guy that's not overwhelmingly fast. It is a wild pitch. That's the 8th wild pitch for Santana. So both pitchers have made one wild pitch. Both have 8 for the year.
Ducks on the punt, 1 out, 2-2 the count.
And Suzuki out to talk with Santana.
You would think that they let Kurt call the game.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Yeah. And that being the case, he's very good. He's very good behind that plate. There was a fastball that was inside off the plate, and he couldn't lay off of it.
No, that's one of the things we talked about. You're not going to see a strike inside,
No.
but you'll see one inside off the plate. And that one had a little sink to it. There was some good late movement. So the 2 outs have been strikeouts. You see really good late movement. I'm not sure exactly what he did with that one, but if he remembers how he threw it, it's going to be tough for right-handers to hit it. He went around way too far, and Greg Gibson didn't even have to look at Dana DeMuth at first. He just called it himself. There's a couple in a row that Suzuki was able to smother.
He's getting his workout behind that plate with him. Three and one. And that'll load him up. And here comes Alex. First walk issued by Santana. Here comes Neil Allen.
That's a whole lot of pitches so far. You're not through the 3rd inning. Next pitch he throws will be number 60.
He's given up 8 hits, only 1 run, and that was a home run. So he's been battling.
He's living on the edge.
Yes, he is.
And with their bullpen, you can bet Santana would like to go as far as he can in this.
Don't help him out. Sacks packed with socks. And that is a souvenir left side. First to 4. Here at Target Field. Big pitch in the scheme of things, the 1-1. Outfield for the most part straight up. And that's it right at the shift. Blanco. So once again, we've already stranded 7 guys in this game.
Pre-game patio parties are the best deal at the ballpark. Patio tickets are all inclusive. With purchase, you receive a game ticket and you can enjoy an all-you-can-eat buffet catered by Baseball Buffet, as well as wine and Miller beverages. Patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game and closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/group. Tyler Saladino will slide from second to shortstop, as Carlos Sanchez will come into the game, and quite obviously that ball that Tim Anderson took off the shin, right calf, and it's a bruise, and he is listed day to day. He tries to get out of the way, and he can't.
And it was a rocket.
Hit hard. Sad part about it would have been a base hit with runners, with a chance to runners at first and third, certainly first and second. As it is, you won't see many games where you've got 8 singles and 1 run in 3 innings. 7 singles and a home run, rather.
You stranded 7 guys through 3 innings. But again, Murphy's Law. When you're going bad, you got to try to shake things up.
Well, eventually, the one thing you do know is the Twins will not lose every game the rest of the year, so they've lost 13 in a row. If any team is due, it would be them. But you just don't want to see it here.
No,
you just as soon not.
Oh man, what a season! Start off 23-10. With it. Got him. So Plouffe is gone for the 2nd time. But start off April, the best bullpen in the big leagues. All of a sudden May comes with, because you only have 1 off day, and in May you got the worst bullpen in the big leagues.
Probably the greatest illustration is Matt Albers set an all-time franchise record for consecutive scoreless appearances. Couldn't touch him. Stuff was magnificent. The movement was unbelievable. It was sinking. It was running. It was doing just about everything, and it was as high as 95 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, he just hit the wall like a whole lot of the other pensmen. They got used, and they get used a lot. And
they have never recovered.
That was it. and then injuries start to pile up, now you got a big problem.
Yeah, when you got to feel like as much as Petrichka was used, that would played a huge part in his injury. Putnam,
the same thing. I mean, when he was right, he was pretty good.
Two of our mainstays out there in the pen. I was telling the Dutchman, Bert Blyleven, about that part of the game. He said, "You guys started off great." And I told him, I said, "Yeah, we only had one off day in April." He said, "Why?" He said, "I've never heard of that."
Not for a Midwestern team.
There's the Hall of Famer. Oh, what stuff he had. Wow. Everybody's always talking about, which we are too, is great curveball he had, but people don't understand how hard he threw.
60 shutouts. He had lots of things. Lots of things going well for him.
That's a great story about Johan Santana.
Yeah.
He gone. I know some of you heard it, but some of you who not younger. Johan Santana was really an outstanding left-handed pitcher for Minnesota. So he had somebody shut out one night, and after 8 innings, they took him out. So Bert couldn't understand it. And after the game, he went to Johan Santana and said, "Johan," he said, "man," he said, "you didn't want that shutout?" He said, "Well, Bert," he said, "shutouts are tough to come by. Did you ever have any?" He goes, "Yeah, 60.
Nowadays, you're going to be hard pressed to find guys with 60 complete games for their career. Most of them won't get anywhere near that.
No, not even close. Not even close.
Max Scherzer went, I don't know, what, 170 starts without a complete game?
Yeah, that's in the center field. Nice, easy inning for our guy, Quintana. He needed it. Meanwhile, we trail it 5-1.
Ballpark for Bark at the Park on Tuesday, September 13th, as the Sox attempt to set the Guinness World Record for dogs attending a sporting event. Bark at the Park is presented by Aviderm, National Pet Foods, and Nylabone, as well as PetSmart. For more information, visit whitesox.com/bark.
Here's Tyler. Tyler singles sharply back through the middle in the second inning. 5-5-0 for their guys. 1-8-0 for our guys. They have stranded none. We have stranded 7. That's Ugley.
It's a lot of offense wasted at this point.
Could not check it up. Talking about those complete games. Twins this year have 4 complete games. Chris Sale has 5. Plouffe. 1 out.
We'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on DirecTV.
Here's Adam. Nice little spinner strike. Adam 1 for 2. Regardless of whether or not some people want to acknowledge it or admit to, it's become an agent's game. That's up and in.
Well, in what respects do you see it as an agent's game?
Well, they don't want their pitchers, and if you were an agent, you'd be doing the same thing. They don't want their pitchers throwing too much. They want to extend the shelf life to get another contract.
Well, from an agent standpoint, you can understand that.
That's what his job is. But the baseball front office has allowed it to happen. 2 down. Agents will call general managers and talk to them, and then all of a sudden, most of the agents talk to their real good members of their stable, quote, so to speak, almost every day. And if a guy goes out and he throws 115 pitches, 120 pitches, all of a sudden, the agent talks to him 2 days later, how you feel? I'm a little ouchy, I'm sore. Threw 115 out last time. Well, go on the deal. Go on the deal. Tell him you got a sore shoulder, sore back. Last year, there were 9,900 and something days of DL time in the major leagues, and they're going to pass that this year. Carlos over the head of Kepler, so he'll just mosey on into second base. That boy, Carlos.
Getting his first opportunity to have an at bat and making the most of it. He hit this ball hard. Suzuki wants it inside, and that was a slider. It was down, and Carlos hit it hard.
You've seen the home run, the ball he hit in batting practice the other day in Detroit. I was watching him. The pitch before he swung and broke his bat. Now, Omar Narvaez reached around and handed him his bat. He hit the next pitch. You know, at the deepest corner in right center by the scoreboard out there.
Yeah, where it actually moves out.
He hit it about 15, 18 rows
above the scoreboard.
I asked him after the game, I said, whose bat was that you took to hit that ball? He goes, Omar's.
It was a magic bat.
I said, maybe you ought to think about giving out another try. Cabrera 1 for 2. Hard single off the right calf. Steve told you earlier of Tim Anderson. Let's pick him up. Pick him up, Melky. Start pecking away. That ball hit well. Stay in the air. Kepler looks up. It's off the facade out there. So indeed, back-to-back doubles by Sanchez and Cabrera, and it's a 5-2 ball game.
Well, this game, you know one thing. Santana's at the 78 pitch mark. We're not through the 4th inning, so he's not going all that deep into the game, which means they're going to turn it over to their bullpen. This is a high fastball, and Melky gets a whole lot of it. His 2nd hit of the night. That just missed being a home run. He drives in run number 61.
That's a home run in any park in the American League
except for here.
So here is Abreu. He's 2 for 2, 2 singles.
Multiple hits in every inning.
I wonder what those 10,000 DL days equate to in dollars.
Lots and lots of dollars.
Quick one, grabs a strike, and the count 1-2.
Reach base safely, 28 straight game, the longest streak in the major leagues active.
That was way in off the plate, but we pick up one and say 5-2 ball. Tomorrow night, we'll have game 2 of this series from Minneapolis as Carlos Rodon looks to continue his hot streak. He's really been pitching well. Yeah, that first pitch is at 7 right here on CSN Chicago. That's tomorrow night. Carlos Rodon on the bump for us. And Kyle Gibson, who has always pitched pretty good against our team.
I get the feeling if Jose can just hold him right there, and we play enough innings, we wind up with 20-some hits. We're going to get at least 5 off Santana.
We have 2 runs on 10 hits. They have 5 runs on 5 hits. And that's fouled back. What's the most hits you ever scattered in a game?
Then we're giving up. God, giving up 10 hits in the first inning.
First inning?
Yeah. No, that wasn't. Well, we were playing Arizona State. I was pitching for the Cubs, and they came over. Bump Wills was their leadoff hitter. I got him out twice in the first inning. If he hadn't been on that team, I'd have still been there.
That ball was absolutely destroyed.
And
but foul.
Max Kepler hit a line drive rocket that almost didn't have a chance to hook foul, but at the end of the travels of this one, it did. He got a fastball. Kepler just hit the daylights out of it.
They want a review of this. Or talk about it. Dana Demuth, crew chief. And they indeed are going to look at it. That's just about as hard as Max Kepler can hit a baseball right there.
Okay, as you can see right there, you'll see target center, and you'll look up to your right, and the baseball is right there. And you'll watch it. You'll see if the ball disappears in front. You can see the ball all the way. And because you can see the ball all the way, it was foul. If that ball disappeared, it was obscured by the pole, that means that it would have been a fair ball. But that was a really good shot of it, guys, and seeing the ball all the way means it went in front of the pole and hooked foul.
So it's a 5-2 ball game in case you're just joining us. We scored a run in the top of the second inning. Homer. Line shot home run by Todd Frazier, his 34th. He now has 84 RBIs. Then they came right back in the bottom of the second. 5 big ones, highlighted by a 3-run shot. A blast off the bat of Byron Buxton. On a curveball, didn't do a whole bunch except leave the park in a hurry. Here you go. Five out of the last 6 he has punched out.
And that's the third. He got looking. That's 7 strikeouts.
Suzuki, an extended at bat back in the second inning, but he finally got himself an RBI single. Had him way out in front.
So, Hawk, on August 24th of 1977, I scattered 14 hits in 5 1/3 innings.
He scattered them up.
against Baltimore.
That's high in the center field. That's a term that used to be used a lot in baseball when a guy would go out, give up 10 or 11 hits. He scattered 10 or 11 hits.
Yeah.
Scattered was the key word.
14. Of course, that was a lively ball era.
Oh, I tell you, pitchers, you guys can lie with a straight face better than anybody I know.
Well, what I remember from that game was that the guys just weren't positioned very well. They weren't around when the ball fell. I expect him to be a little closer to the ball. Didn't work out that way.
Well, you got to pitch to your defense.
So, but thanks to Dave Ross, because fortunately I had forgotten that memorable evening.
I tell you, if you say it, Rossi's going to find it.
Yep, he's pretty good.
Oh, he's the best.
You know, you've always said great things about Joe Girardi, and he watches his ball club trade away Carlos Beltran, Roldis Chapman, Andrew Miller, and Ivan Nova, and really restock their minor league system. And we'll get back to that.
All righty, another 1-2-3 inning. That's 8 in a row retired by Quintana. Top of the 5th inning in a 5-2 Minnesota lead. Dustin Morneau fouls that one away. He's 1 for 2. So
we'll talk about that Yankee team. So they trade away Carlos Beltran, Aroldis Chapman, Andrew Miller, and Ivan Nova for prospects to restock their system, which they did, and they got some very good ones.
there's a good way to start it right here.
And yet they're still in the thick of the wild card race because they went to their system. You see them 2.5 games back. The Astros right there. But obviously it's going to be a wonderful battle for the wild card. But the Yankees are in the middle of things. They brought up Gary Sanchez, who set the all-time record for quickest to 11 home runs. Aaron Judge, who's a gigantic right-hand hitter, and Tyler Austin. And those three guys, mixed with the guys that they had left, really have come alive. And the Yankees, despite unloading most of their bullpen, except for Dellin Betances, who now is the closer, I mean, that team is still playing good, solid baseball. You just don't want to play him right now.
Well, for me, if you took it right now, the vote, he's the manager of the year.
He's done a remarkable job with that team. And you consider the age of that ball club, the amount of injuries they've had, the lack of productivity out of the guys that he did have. He's kept them afloat, and now, even after unloading, he's kept them afloat.
Yes, sir. He is, for me, the manager of the year at this point. 3-0, don't help him out. We need some base runners. Ivy on deck. Yeah, but Joe's been a good manager for a long time. And there is ball 4.
Santana hasn't had one inning where he failed. to have at least 2 men left. So 3 hits in the first inning, 3 hits in the second inning, 2 hits and a walk in the third inning, 2 hits in the fourth inning, and a base hit and a walk so far here, with nobody out in the 5th.
Well, through 4, we stranded 8. Through 3, we stranded 7. That might be one of the better pitches he'll see in this sequence to hit right there.
It was a backup slider that did absolutely nothing. Pen is up and going, and it is Alex Wimmers.
Now you got to cinch it up and hunker down right here, Avi. 1-2 the count.
Eleven hits and 4+.
Check it up. Good check. That pitch was up and in. All right. It's a full count. Morneau at second, Frazier at first. He was all over it. He was all over it.
That's what Avi wants. He wants a fastball in the outer third. He got it. Pitch number 96 on the way for Santana.
One out.
Pitch number 8 of the at bat is out of the zone, and Avi can't check it up.
5 strikeouts now for Santana. Big one right there. Tejas has done a good job this year too, with everything that's going down with that ball club and Terry Collins.
Well, they've had a number of very
Wright.
serious injuries.
And that's one of the premier players of the game.
How about Matt Harvey?
Look at all the injuries they've had.
Yep.
I mean, and they're still over 500. Alex is grounded to first and grounded to short. Grounded to short last time up in the third inning, was hit sharply right to Polanco, who was playing him right up the middle. Yes, he did. And the count 0-2. Yeah, the Mets
That's what it looks like in the National League.
69 and 64.
They're game and a half back. And you would think it's going to be not real easy for the Dodgers to hold off the Giants. If the Giants get any hitting at all.
He knew it. 2 down.
Alex looks at a perfect fastball. It was actually well caught by Suzuki. It did have the corner, but as he caught it, he brought it into even more of the plate.
Well, that's a Rick Dempsey move right there.
It's a good move. Very, very subtle.
Always moving towards the center of the plate. Tyler can't get it. Rick Dempsey, former catcher for Steve.
He caught
in Baltimore. I'll tell you what, he caught some good. He caught some good pitchers.
24 years in the major league. Dempsey spent.
He caught some good pitchers, and they got a lot of help from him. The ball gets away, so both runners will advance. Morneau into third, Frazier into second.
Second wild pitch of the night, 9th of the year. Then when you throw a fastball that far in front of the plate into the dirt, it's really tough for a catcher.
Well, again, like we were talking in the break a while ago, he has not thrown one inside fastball for a strike.
Not really even close. I mean, they've been
night long.
Either in the dirt or inside off the plate.
And you could have checked his numbers out before the game and known he was not going to do that to a right-handed hitter. But he's going to pitch out of it again. We strand 2 more. We stranded 10 guys, and we're halfway home, trailing 5-2. All right, Art Chuck, thank you very much. It's the bottom of the 5th inning and a 5-2 Minnesota lead. And here's a man who hit a 3-run homer in the 2nd inning. And if you missed it, Mike Leary's got it for you. Poof.
Only the 2nd home run of the year, a rolling breaking ball, and Buxton rolls it right out of here. Upper deck. You would think that was going to be it for Santana, because the bullpen is still going for the Twins. No reason to be up unless you're coming in the game.
That is high in the center field. I mean, there was a major league pop up. 1 out. It was some. Sox brought up a couple of players today, and there was some anticipation of possibly Zach Birdie being called up, who was high draft choice, supposed to be really good. In fact, he's got a brother named Nick, who was a second-round pick by the Twins out of Downers Grove. You got to be careful sometimes about bringing guys up with the structure of the game the way it's set today, the rules that are set. Is a rule veterans on a contending club did not like to see guys called up that they called up September call up. But you had to be here August 31st to be on the roster in case you got to playoffs. But today they call it putting them on the clock.
You also, if you're not a member of the 40-man roster, you have to make a spot on the roster. And one of the real good stories is one of the guys coming up. And that's a guy that should have made his major league debut, but couldn't. And that's Kevin Smith. That's what he did at AAA Charlotte. Juan Minaya coming up, right-hand pitcher, 4-3 record, nice 3.38 ERA. Charlotte has a chance to get into the playoffs, and when this season is resolved, there are probably going to be another 3 guys or so, maybe 4, but 3 for sure, going to come up from the minor leagues.
Third time Dozier has punched out against Quintana. Eight strikeouts now for Jose. And here's Mauer, who is 1 for 2 with a strikeout. First pitch strike.
Jose has certainly settled down. In fact, he had a 1-2-3 first, a 1-2-3 third, a 1-2-3 fourth, working on a 1-2-3 fifth, but he gave up 5 hits in a row in that second inning.
And that breaks a streak of 10 in a row retired by Quintana.
Mauer's had good numbers lifetime against Jose Quintana. Takes this fastball inside, drills it to the right side.
Trevor has struck out both times. Both times called out. Yeah, that Kevin Smith, who he called up, he's a big man. 6'4", 230. Out of Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. Great town.
Got some beautiful suburbs.
Oh,
just gorgeous.
That ball hit hard. Very hard. And it's 7-2.
Ten home runs, 43 driven in for Trevor Plouffe. Fourth home run replay. He got a fastball on the outer portion of the plate and took it out in the bullpen.
Here's Sano. Popped the second and struck out.
Sano last year was probably striking out near as much as he has this year, only this year he's not walking. .20 home runs, 54 driven in.
Well, I don't think they want to make another David Ortiz mistake.
No. No, this is a real big, very strong young guy who's had some arm problems.
Yeah, that happened to be in my whole career the most shocking release of a player that I've ever seen. As that is caught, meanwhile, the 2-run homer, and they lead it by 5.
All season long with Papa John's Pizza. The day after the Sox win, you get 50% off your entire online order of regular menu priced items only at papajohns.com. When you use the promo code SOXWIN, and that's at all participating Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. So we've got a new pitcher in this one. And it is Taylor Rogers. On for the 45th time. He's 3-0, 2.77 ERA. He's had a pretty solid year. There's been a couple of guys having decent years out of the pen, but not quite as many as Paul Molitor would like.
So Santana scattered 11 hits over 5 innings, giving up only 2 runs.
And 2 walks. Pretty amazing that he was able to get out of it. And a pitcher of record on the plus side.
Plus, how many times are you going to see a guy never throw an inside fastball strike and only give up 2 runs?
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. That was to a right-handed hitter we're talking about. That's lined into center field. So Adam is 2 for 4.
Tommy Kahnle loosening in the pen.
Here's Carlos. He doubled his only at bat. Over the head of Max Kepler in right field.
He will turn around and hit from the right side. If you missed it, Tim Anderson hit by a line drive. Was headed for right field. He could not get out of the way of it. And he got a contusion of the calf, listed as day to day. That was a good breaking pitch.
And the count 0-2.
Late break. Good stop by Suzuki.
And that's flipped out into right center field. Buxton with that good speed.
The Twins want so badly for the light to turn on for Byron Buxton, because he's got all kinds of skills. He is by far the best center fielder in their organization. And we saw the power he has tonight. Hit the second deck in left field.
Well, we saw him make a catch against us here earlier. One of the best you'll see by center field.
Yep.
That makeup speed is, you don't see it all the time.
So he's one of the fastest guys around.
Yeah, that's what Junior used to call his speed. Asked him, can you run, Junior? He said, I got makeup speed. Ken Griffey Jr. He did. Melky. Melky's 2 for 3. Hard single. And a hard double off the side in right field. Home run anywhere else except here. They call that a fair ball, and that is out number 2.
Usually that call belongs to Greg Gibson unless he's screened out of it. See right there? And it looked like the ball was in fair territory when Maurer caught it. Dana DeMuth signaling.
Well, it's the home plate umpire's call. This is a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, unless he's screened.
Right.
And Melky swinging from the right side.
Brady's 2 for 3. That ball hit hard. Stretch. They look. And you can put it on the board. Yes. We're right back in it. It is now 7-4.
That was just about as far as you'll see a ball. I've seen Sano hit one in the upper deck. Jose hit that one off the facing of the upper deck. That is his 20th home run of the year. He's now driven in 76. Our Ford home run replay. It's a fastball. It's low. It's out over the plate. And it got out of here very quickly.
So here's Morneau.
He would not pick up.
Martha Black, Joe Simmons. Gale Tucker's picked to click tonight. He's 2 for 3. Takes a breaking ball strike.
Fifth home run Rogers has given up in 50 innings of work.
And takes a fastball strike. Slider strike, fastball strike, 0-2. Check it, 1-2. Left side. But the long opposite field home run by Jose Abreu. And we're right back in it. On with High School Lights. Join Kelly Crow for the latest scores, highlights, and fan reaction. Don't miss High School Lights, presented by Wintrust, starting at 11 on CSN and streaming live at csnchicago.com.
Got a new pitcher coming in the ballgame. It is Tommy Kahnle. He's out for the 19th time. ERA 3.71. 16 walks in 17 innings. Not too good. Jose Quintana gave up the most runs he's given up all year. In 5 innings, he gave up 7 on 7 hits, a couple of home runs. Just didn't have his usual very crisp stuff tonight.
One of the few times in the last couple of years he has not had his good stuff. He has been a model of consistency. Jorge Polanco. He's 1 for 2, a single and a run scored. 7-7-0 for them, 4-13-0 for us. We've stranded 10. They stranded none.
Jose's ERA went from 2.77 leading the American League to 3.05.
Three and 0. Ready to lead off walk.
Join the White Sox Friday, September 9th for a night of music and dance as we celebrate the rich Southside Irish heritage. First 20,000 fans ages 21 and over will receive a St. Patrick's Day themed cap presented by Miller Lite. To purchase this specially priced ticket package, visit whitesox.com/SPD.
Here's Kepler. He is singled, struck out, and scored one. Now, you're missing two of your main guys, Austin Jackson, Brett Laurie. It just doesn't look like the same ball.
Here's Beck. Loosening in the pen. Last 2 outings, he's been the most efficient you could possibly be, unless you're considering one of them a pickoff. But he's thrown 2 pitches his last 2 outings.
Two and two. The more you see this Kepler, the more you like it.
He can do a whole lot of things very well. Let's see, 6'4". He's got some growing left to do.
Let's keep talking about him.
Maybe he'll strike out a few more times.
Yeah.
That one low out of the zone. And he goes down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight.
Suzuki 1 for 2 with an RBI. Born in Berlin, still resides in Berlin.
And it goes a wild pitch. Not much Alex could do with that one. Second wild pitch of the year.
Big gap out there in left center. Limited slate of action in the major leagues today. Atlanta beat San Diego 9-6. Down in Georgia. Bottom of the 7th at Wrigley, 4-3 San Francisco. That's up high. And the Marlins leading the Mets 6-2 in New York.
Threw a slider, and even though it was up, he got it by him.
And that was a digger. That wasn't a hanger.
Nope.
Some of these guys can throw high sliders, if they stay on top of it rather than getting off to the side, then it's when it's going to spiral. In fact, the White Sox had a pitcher in the Hall of Fame.
Early win.
High fastball, high slider pitcher.
It's amazing. But he'd also throw at you about every other pitch.
No changeups, no curveballs, high fastballs and high sliders. I played against Early when he won his 300th game.
Well, Early eked out 5 innings in that one.
Yeah, he did. Jerry Walker finished it up with the last 4.
That one just missed.
Well, Suzuki thought it was a strike. Yeah, Gus, Early win. Nickname is Gus. Gus had some really good outings prior to that game. In fact, that was one of his worst outings in seeking his 300th victory. But you very seldom ever see a high fastball, high slider pitcher.
You see some high fastball curveball pitchers.
Jim Palmer.
Don Sutton went to the Hall of Fame. Jim Palmer in the Hall of Fame. Throwing high fastballs and curveballs.
And you knew, I mean, you knew what was coming. That's why they would. Palmer won 20 games 8 times, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. And you knew what was coming. Payoff. Not to the extent of a Mariano Rivera. But for the most part, you knew what Palmer was going to throw.
Mariano threw above 95% the same pitch. His cut fastball. For the majority of his career, it was in the same spot.
Same spot.
Outside of right-handers, inside the left-handers.
Same spot, same release point. That's in the gap. So that leadoff walk is going to cross home plate. And it's 8-4.
Both runs batted in have been on 9 pitch at bats for Suzuki. He battled Quintana in the second inning before getting a breaking ball down and out of the zone for his single, and this time he battled Canely. Only got a fastball up and away, drove it into the gap.
That's a nice 2-strike approach.
He can't possibly play against every team like he plays against our ball club. Otherwise,
no,
he would be a star catcher. He's a good catcher. He plays most every day. But oh, he's been something against our club.
Well, it's not unlike J.D. Martinez. He hit against everybody the way he hits against us. I mean,
that's over 500.
Rosario. He's 1 for 2 with a single and a grounder to second.
And Alex going out there.
2-0 pitch. And that's going to be a souvenir left side. We mentioned first of 4 here tomorrow night. Carlos Rodon has really been pitching well against right-hander Kyle Gibson. Saturday, James Shields against old friend Hector Santiago. Now those 2 games will also be right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Then on Sunday in the finale, that game over WGN, Anthony Bernardo against the southpaw Andrew Albers. That's yank foul. And then we come home for a long homestand. Monday the 5th starts a 3-game set with the Tigers. Off day on the 8th. Then Kansas City for 3 and Cleveland for 4. There you go.
Helped him out. Swung the pitch out of the zone. Zaire could not check it up on a high fastball.
So here's Buxton. He's 1 for 2, but that one hit was a long one. A 3-run homer, 2nd inning. So Jose Quintana, in case you're just tuning in, gave up the most runs he's given up in an outing this year. He went 5 innings giving up 7 runs earned. So ERA went from 2.77 to 3.05, and he was leading the league with that 2.77. That's high, and that'll retire the side. So we'll go to the 7th. 8-4.
Home run of the year tonight. tied for the most by a White Sox third baseman. And who did he tie? His manager, Robin Ventura, 34 in 1996. And here is that second inning home run. With the first White Sox run, E-Click Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
Garcia on deck, Avila in the hole. Taylor Rogers. Also Bill Melton, 33 home runs, led the league one year. Melton. You lead a league in home runs playing in Old Comiskey Park. You've done something.
You're not kidding.
You have done something.
We were talking about Byron Buxton having a different approach.
He looks like a different guy.
Well,
Forget about that home run.
Well, Chad Allen was his hitting coach at AAA. Mike Quaddy, former Cub manager, was his manager at AAA. It was Chad Allen who worked with him.
Well, he just looks, as he calls him out.
Got a little unhappy with this. But I think if he looks at it from the side, he'll see he went around. Dana DeMuth on the appeal.
Ivy. I don't blame you, Ivy. Those two calls, both of them, 8-4 late in the ball game calls. Well, somebody, you know, when you've got Tom Bunansky, Bruno was the hitting coach who's a good one. I've talked to some of the hitters. They really like him. And sometimes, let's go for an example with Chad Allen. Goes down there. He's struggling up here, goes down there. First of all, he's more relaxed down there.
No question.
I mean, the heat's off.
Not being overmatched on a nightly basis.
The heat's off. And that's the biggest killer of performance is pressure. So there's no pressure on him now. And a lot of times when there's no pressure, then the guy becomes more receptive to what somebody is saying. And whatever it is, he just looks like a different guy now.
Well, he's been up and down so much that they know, with his talent, they know the light's going to turn on.
Well,
they just have to open sooner rather than later.
He's another one of those guys, Stoney, that you and I talk about. He's a perfect example of a guy who, if he ever learns how to hit with some shorter arms, with his talent and his strength, he's going to be awesome.
They're fully expecting him to be not a good player. They expect him to be a star.
Well, he's got the ability to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that one of the things that's going to keep him from doing it is one word: extension. The more he extends, the tougher time he's going to have.
Now he just broke his bat in half as he went out of the strike zone.
Bo Jackson. See what he just did over his knee?
Yes.
Frank Howard. Old Roomy. That's what I'm doing. Exactly the same thing. Not using his knee. And you think about that.
He broke a bat in his hands. Just
an R43, which is a very thin.
Yeah, but still, it's a bat.
It was 35 inches. Excuse me, 36 inches, 33 ounces. Eddie Brinkman and I are sitting down in the runway. At that time, we both smoked. We're sitting down there having a cigarette in the runway. Hondo has struck out for the 5th time in that ball game. He comes down. His neck muscles were just bulging. This guy is 6'8", 303 pounds with a 36-inch waist. Strongest man I've ever seen, period. And he starts looking around, and those neck muscles are bulging. All of a sudden, he goes, boom. And I looked at Brinky, and he looked at me. We couldn't believe what we just saw. Snapped it right in two.
That's pretty amazing.
It is. I mean, it's one of the most amazing.
Well, you also told me, and I had heard this before, that Jim Rice, twice that I know of, on check swings, cracked his bat.
First time in Detroit off the left-hander. Rice and I were talking about it in Boston when we were up there a couple months ago. There's a strike. Don Zimmer's coaching third base. He checked it up. He threw him a slow curveball, and Jimmy checked it up. The bat went flying down past Zimmer. Zimmer had to hit the dirt and go down, spread out. Only thing Jimmy had was like 7 or 8 inches of the handle in his hand.
The torque that you have to use to swing and break the bat is astonishing.
So here comes Molitor.
So it looks like Rogers is going to depart. Presley is going to come in, and we'll step out and be back after these messages. Only pregame autograph session on Sunday, September 11th. Fans that purchase a special ticket pack can participate in an exclusive autograph session with select members of the White Sox. To purchase these special ticket packs, please visit whitesox.com/autographs. And our Hyundai call to the pen is Ryan Presley. He's got a very good arm, but he's been used a lot. On for the 63rd time. 6-6, which is a lot of decisions for a Pensman, but ERA of 3.65.
Well, that much work in that 3.65, that'll get it done. That's pretty good.
Yep, it will, and there's no doubt that he's not throwing it near as crisp as he did earlier in the year. But that will happen if you're having success out of a bullpen that hasn't had a whole lot of people with success. You're going to get your share of innings.
Well, you said it yesterday in Detroit. You put it, I mean, that was the best way to sum it up when we were talking about coming in here playing these guys 4 games. They were on a 13-game losing streak. And you said when you lose your closer, you're dead. And Blyleven and I were talking about it. And I told him what you had said yesterday in Detroit. He agreed 100%. He said, now Kessler's been doing a pretty good job out there, the bullpen.
Yeah, but they had to, I mean, they had to discover him as a closer because they tried Jepson.
That was an afterthought.
Yeah, and Jepson didn't work.
When you lose your closer today, If you don't have anybody to step up and take his place, you're in deep doo-doo.
Glenn Perkins appeared in exactly 2 games, and that was it before he was lost for the season.
All right, 7th inning stretch. They lead us by 4.
Ball game on for the 13th time. His ERA 5.84, and as you can see, he's got the right-handers out. Getting the left-handers been a problem.
Yeah, it's the top of the order for the Twins. Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe.
Dozier is happy to see someone else in the game.
Quintana punched him out 3 times.
All swinging.
Eight runs, 8 hits, no errors for their guys. They have stranded 1. 4 runs, 13 hits, no errors for our guys. We have stranded 11. We had stranded 7 through the first 3 innings. And the count 1-2. And that's into the gap. But Adam Eaton's going to hold him to it. That's a good job by Eaton.
Get a long way to go.
Well, he comes with one strike of punching out 4 times.
And he winds up with a base hit. Looked like it was going to be 2 bases, and Adam got over there. Thought he might have had a play on it, but then decided otherwise and got it back in as Dozier takes a wide aggressive turn. Doesn't want to run on the arm of Adam Eaton, who's got 17 outfield assists.
Well, we talked about it a lot. When Austin Jackson was playing every day, we had a different outfield. Different whole defensive dynamic, a whole different defensive rhythm. And he actually put Adam Eaton into the hunt for a Gold Glove in right field.
There's no doubt. There is absolutely no doubt of that.
He also put Melky into a situation where this is as good an outfield as Melky has ever played defensively.
You give Dozier a chance and he will steal a bag. 11 out of 13. He's not quite as aggressive as he was, but he's still a very good base stealer.
Well, he's got 32 home runs, 31 doubles, 5 triples, so he can run.
I would say, but you don't want your biggest home run hitter to be stealing all kinds of bases.
Now with a 4-run lead in the 7th inning.
Nah, you take too much of a beating.
They do that actually more today than they did in years past. Keep guys from running. And part of that came from sabermetrics. They had guys who were stealing 30, 40 bases a year. Sabermetrics come in and they steal 3 or 4 the next season.
Look at Baltimore. We saw Baltimore. They had 14 steals as a team. Now they've fallen to 4 back of Toronto. But still, it's been a year where Buck Showalter says, I got home run hitters up and down my lineup. I'm not going to lose a game on the bases. Now they've got 15 stolen bases. They've only tried 25.
Nice pick. The peg. The play. What a beautiful play by Todd Frazier and a nice pick by Abreu. Yes.
Well, that's just a terrific play because Joe Mauer thinking he had a base hit all the way. And Todd Frazier playing well off the line. You see how far off the line he is. Mauer goes that way and Frazier didn't even think about second base. He knows Dozier's runs too well, so he goes to first.
I'll tell you one thing, Stevie. You get a guy who at this point he's probably going to wind up hitting close to 40 home runs.
Yep, he is that.
Driving in 100 and playing defense the way I don't care what he hits. He can hit 180 if he's going to put up those numbers and play that kind of defense for you. That's why batting average is one of the most, if not the most, misleading numbers in baseball. Produce the runs.
Yeah, you want to see your run producers produce runs. Very simple. You want to see your table setters get on base.
Plouffe with a 2-run homer in the 5th inning. And if you missed it, poof.
Only his 10th of the year. It's been an injury plagued season for him. I mean, lots of injuries. He hasn't been near the same. But he had enough to take it into the bullpen that time.
Well, the best thing about it, he's still young. He's just 30. That ball hit hard, but we got a man there. Two down.
Last year, Plouffe had 22 home runs and drove in 86. It was a pretty nice year for him overall. But this year, it's just one of those years where every time he got something going, he'd have an injury, would set him back. He's only played in 78 games. So it's been tough.
Sano is 0 for 3.
Sano last year in 80 games hit 18 home runs and drove in 52. Minnesota thought that he would come up, have just an outstanding year this year.
He's just 23 years old.
Yeah, the place is, I mean, the question is where you're going to play him, because he doesn't have the good footwork at third. They tried to play him in right field. That didn't work out as well as they would like. He's got a huge arm.
Yeah,
but he had Tommy John surgery, and unfortunately, that elbow now is still giving him some problems. Not enough to have yet another surgery, but still enough to bother him, and that's why he's the DH.
Well, if that's the case, then it's going to bother his swing.
Yep.
Too. One thing about it, he's got a huge upside with that lumber.
You don't find guys coming along this big and this strong all that often.
No.
He's 6'3". They list him at 262. I think he's flown by that a while ago. And he's from what used to be known as the cradle of shortstops, San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic.
Baseball's capital of talent.
It's absolutely astonishing.
It is.
How small that country is and how many major leaguers they put out.
All right, Chris. Good job, buddy. We'll go to the 8th. We need 4 to tie.
By Miller Lite. Here's our Miller moments, and they came in the second inning. A big 5-run second. Kurt Suzuki in a battling at bat takes one down the line, does what he always does, torments the Sox. Then after a wild pitch, scoring another run, Byron Buxton comes up, gets a rolling curveball, and rolls it on out of the yard. 5-run, 5-hit second, and for all practical purposes, that has been it. Our Miller moments.
Top of the order for us. Adam Eaton is 2 for 4 with a run scored. And a couple of good plays in the outfield.
I would think,
for the most part, straight up.
I would think with those plays in the outfield, certainly enough for
now
Bix
here
to
we
play.
go again, Senator.
Senator
Stone.
I'm just saying, I don't know for sure who picked him, but I'm thinking the defense probably tells the tale.
You're kidding. to be more and more like the Senators we're seeing on TV.
No,
all
that's
the time now.
Don't call me that. That's not so good.
There's a strike. 2-1. Yeah, if you hadn't won 25 games in the Cy Young Award one year, you'd have been a good lobbyist.
If I hadn't have done that,
yeah, you'd have been a good.
I'd
if you had to go somewhere
I'd have
else,
been a real good teacher.
You would have been a good lobbyist.
Not a bad job, actually.
Well, some of them make $5 million a year.
I know. But most of them were holding public office before. I'm just guessing. Might have done a favor or two for some folks.
You think?
Maybe.
All right, full count. Let's do something, boys. We got 6 outs.
And Juan Minaya loosening up in the pen.
Let's give him a finish. Got him from Houston back in June.
This would be his major league debut if he gets into this, and appears he's going to.
That was a good way to start it.
Check out the Xfinity Fundamentals deck high above left field at U.S. Cellular Field. It's accessible from the 100, 300, and 500 levels. Young Sox fans can learn baseball from White Sox Training Academy coaches. Don't miss the batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and be sure to check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform. X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV.
Here's Carlos. He's 1 for 2, a double and a run scored. Some of those lobbyists in Washington make almost as much money as you do.
Yeah. If they did, they would move.
That's high and wide.
Presley having some problems, and now Kurt Suzuki goes out to have a word with him.
It's almost 10 o'clock. Some of you just getting home. If you do, we scored a run in the 2nd inning. Another game we took a lead in, but it didn't last long. That was a home run by Frazier. They came back with 5 in the bottom of the 2nd. We had 1 in the 4th. They added 2 in the 5th. We scored 2 in the 6th. They added another one in the bottom of the 6th.
And really a most unusual outing for Jose Quintana. The most runs he's given up all year. He gave up 7 on 7 hits. And despite not walking anybody and fanning 8, he had a tough time. He gave up a couple of home runs.
They won that inning.
Presley was a Rule 5 draft from Boston back in 2012, and he's been a very good pitcher for these Twins.
Top of the zone, full count.
The last 2 years, his ERA for these Twins has been .286 and .293.
Well, that was a pretty good pickup.
It was for a Rule 5 draft.
Yeah.
They had a better one, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess. And that is going to be trouble down into the corner. So he's going to pick up his 2nd double. Now they're going to go ahead and wave Adam around. He'll score. It's an 8-5 ball game. And Sanchez 2 for 3, 2 doubles, a run scored, and an RBI.
So Carlos came in, got his opportunity, and has made the most of it. This is right down the middle. And we told you Presley's arm isn't quite as lively. You know, even though when you get a little tired, even though the velocity is the same, the movement isn't. And his fastball is pretty straight. Adam Eaton cutting the bases very well. Joe McEwing said, go ahead.
First pitch strike to Melky, who's 2 for 4 with a hard single, hard double.
That was the one I swung through, yeah, 2-0.
Don't stop now, boys. And that's into left field, slicing and going foul. Right side. So now Sanchez moves into third with 1 out, and that'll bring up Abreu. And here's what he did in the 6th inning.
His 3rd hit of the night, and this is a rocket of a home run opposite way. And it went a long way off the facade of the upper deck.
Yeah, that was a bomb. Big gap in left center. Two bad pitches, and the count 0-2. Looks him back, and 2 down.
That pitch was way off the outside corner. Jose making some contact, just couldn't get it by Presley. He did the right thing.
Yes,
you realize, realize he got all kinds of time at first base. He's got to make sure he freezes Carlos, which he did.
So it's up to Justin Morneau, who's 2 for 4. Takes ball 1. Come on, Justin, pick him up. Big run out there, buddy. Gets the questionable pitch. That one at 96. And the count 1-2.
Then when he really rushed up there, reached back, got a little something extra, but it was way off the plate.
not go. All right, we pick up one and stand another.
We've got another major league debut. Juan Minaya, 17 games at AAA, 4-3. With the area of 338, that's pretty good. With 28 strikeouts, 26 2/3. So a thrilling evening for Juan Minaya, who gets his first look.
Polanco. You know, we talk about batting average being one of the most misleading statistics in baseball. Chris Bryant running for MVP. Probably got a leg over most guys over there.
You would think so.
Well, he's got 36 home runs and 91 RBIs. And he's a good third baseman. You know, he's not. You know, he's not a Todd Frazier defensively.
No, there's. I mean,
here's the
Nolan
difference.
Arenado's state of the art.
Yeah, but I'm talking about these two. The comparison.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's got running for that MVP. He's got 2 more home runs than Todd and 7 more RBIs. But he's hitting 95 plus high. So the batting averages are really be skewed.
That's true.
As I said, with the way that Todd throws leather at third.
Also playing with a team 39 over 500. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So Kevin Smith making his major league debut. So a battery. And Kevin Smith, who you might remember, was in the lineup one other time in Toronto. Got hurt. Had a back problem, and this is the first we've seen of him since then.
26-year-old receiver, big man, as I say, 6'4", 230. They still have that lineup card. Rob Warren, our clubhouse guy's got that lineup card for he was going to play that night.
Yeah, now they don't have to worry about that because he gets to see his name in this one.
Yanks that one foul. Does Kepler. Kepler singled hard and struck out twice. But he is a good-looking young 23-year-old player. Beautiful play by Avi Garcia. Yes.
Well, realizing that the line and the wall are pretty close to one another, this is a fair ball. Avi comes across, makes the catch, makes the slide into foul territory, and gets it back in without any movement from Polanco.
Suzuki is 2 for 3, 2 RBIs. What new against us?
Minnesota announced today, and they talked about who was going to the Arizona Fall League, and one of the guys, one of their leading prospects in our organization, Nick Gordon, is going to the Arizona Fall League. Nick Gordon is the son of former big league pitcher Tom Gordon. But he is not a pitcher. He's a shortstop. Also his brother, D. Gordon, from the Miami Marlins. It's a pretty good player, and they've got a few guys who are pretty good young players.
Yeah, you're talking about the Cubs. 39 games over. They scored 137 more runs than we had this year.
Yep.
And yet, as I said, Tide's only 2 home runs and 7 RBIs behind him. There he goes. Throw, he goes.
Well, that was a good throw, and he slid right into it.
Yes, it was. So he bails the night out, and we'll go to the ninth. Lovie Smith as he returns to the college sidelines for the first time since 1995. Now CSN Chicago sits down with the head coach of the Illini as he gets ready for his next chapter and looks back at his time with the Chicago Bears. Tonight at Sportsnet Central at 10:30.
And we got the closer coming into the ball game. And it is Brandon Kinsler. 12 for 13 in saves. He's not an overpowering closer, but his ERA 1.87, that's plenty good enough. And they tried a few different folks trying to shut the door. They found that Kinsler was one of those guys who could do it.
Well, when Bert Blyleven says he's been doing a terrific job, that's good enough for us.
Yep. He's been a good one, and they thought for a bit that he was going to be traded, but didn't work out.
All right, let's give him a finish, guys. 8-5 Minnesota. Here is Todd. Todd 1 for 3 with a homer. That's his 34th, and he now has 84 knocked in. One and one. Beat it out. They get him.
Todd doesn't think so. He believes that he actually beat the play. Plouffe playing deep at third. He did the best that he could do. The question is, was it good enough?
That was an excellent play by Plouffe. Now they're going to check it out and see. I believe he's safe.
Looked to me like he was safe. We'll take a look at different angle.
Yeah.
Oh, he's safe easily.
Yeah.
That will go as a base hit. This shouldn't take all that long. And that's a promising way to start the ninth inning.
Yeah, that's not real close.
Nope. Yeah, that one didn't take too long.
So the leadoff man aboard brings the tying run to the on deck circle. And here's Avi. Avi 0 for 3 with a walk. Runs, 9 hits, no errors for their guys. They've stranded 2. 5 runs, 15 hits, no errors for our guys. We've stranded 12. Yeah, we trailed by 3. If you're just tuning in, the pitchers of record of the starters. Santana for them and Santana for us. They had that one bad inning, 5 runs in the second inning.
Yeah, unfortunately, that and Jose then also gave up a 2-run blast to Plouffe in the fifth, and most runs he's given up all year.
One out.
Time now for our PNC Bank upcoming schedule, and it's 3 more here with the Twins. Then the Tigers come to town for a 3-game series. A couple of day games sandwiched around that Tuesday night game. Our PNC Bank upcoming schedule.
Kevin making his major league debut at the plate. A couple of years ago, I watched him take batting practice on the other field. I'm telling you what, he hit some, monster shots. But you got to make contact. Also, if you're just tuning in, Quintana was leading the American League in that ERA category with 2.77 coming in. It's now up to 3.505. And he is bidding to be the first left-hander for the Sox to lead the league in ERA since 1966. Gary Peters. I played against Gary in '66. He was 1.98, and seemed like he was better than that.
Didn't Joel Horland win it the next year?
Joe Horland, he won it in '67 with 2.06. That ball in the center field.
Well, that's a shame because in his first major league at bat, he hit a rocket. Unfortunately, he hit it right at Buxton.
So we're down to our last out. Here's Tyler. Tyler singles his first at bat. He's 1 for 4. There it goes. Tied. That'll be indifference.
Well, always a good thing to do, only because you take the force out of the equation.
Well, if they're going to gain more ground with range, then you got to take it. I don't care what the score is.
Absolutely.
And this ball game is over.
Not only the ball game, but the 13-game losing streak of these Twins.
And it makes us at 4. But Quintana was just not Jose tonight. That's one bad inning in the second. When you said it during the first part of that inning, he just wasn't quite sharp like he normally is.
No, it didn't have it tonight. It happens. Doesn't happen too often to him, but unfortunately, you come to Minnesota and lose one to a team you've dominated. So I will see you tomorrow evening.
All right. So for my partner Steve Stone, our Hall of Fame director Jim Angio, our future Hall of Fame producer Mike Leary, our associate producer Dave Ball, our very fine technical manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. and for Teresa Day, Chris Trudeau, Jim Petros, and our executive producer Jim Corno Jr. This is Hawk. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.